This is Zoe Tant, the Tantalising Stamper. I'm a demonstrator on the Totally Techniques blog hop, and this month, May 2024, we're showing you different ways of doing the ink smooshing technique, which can create some really fun backgrounds or can actually be used to colour an image. And you'll see from my blog that there are different things that I've done with it. But today I'm going to show you two very quick methods of how to actually create the background, and then show you one card that you can then go on to make, having created your background. So I've got a piece of Fluid 100 watercolour paper, and I've got my silicone mat, and I've also got my glass mat because I'm going to use that for the second way of doing it. I've got Boho Blue and Misty Moonlight inks, and what I'm going to do first of all is just add not too much ink to my mat, and then I'll put the darker colour in between, because what I'm aiming for is a sort of sea blue, which obviously you could use all sorts of colours. You could throw in a little bit of green. I've got a water spritzer, and the trick on this particular method is not to put too much water and make it too runny, but I'm a little bit touch of an elephant, so sometimes I'm not very good at this, so bear with me. Oh, I think that might do actually. And then what we're going to do is hold the piece of card, the watercolour paper, which is a bit more card-like, and just, you can see how I flexed it in my hands, because I only want to pick up ink to go across the middle of the card. Although I'm doing a sort of ceasing, then I'm going to adjust it, so I'll pick it up and go a little bit higher, and then dab it over in different places so that I get it spreading around a bit. Try and get the wet water there, and mix and match. So it's sort of softened, the Boho Blue has softened the Misty Moonlight. It's coming sort of where I want it. And you just keep dabbing, and then what you'll need to do is let it dry, or if you're impatient like me, you can use a heat tool. I might go a little bit, pick up some extras, go a bit higher there. Yep, it's beginning to look how I want it. And I might actually, on this occasion, dare I, spritz a little bit more water just to smoosh it a little bit more. But I think we're about there. So for a moment I'm going to let that dry, and we'll come back to that one. So you've seen I've actually put the ink on a mat. You could put it on the glass mat, but again the glass mat tends to hold the water, so it does get more runny. But that's probably all I need for now, so I'll let that dry for a moment, and then I'm going to move that out of the way, and I'm going to use this little cloth just to mop up the water. So to do it a slightly different way, this time I'm going to add lots more ink around the bazaars. Mix a bit over there. Isn't that funny? So I've got the same colours, and I think I might add a little bit of green. I probably should have done the green first. But if we just put, if you tip it on its edge, and again, touch not of an elephant like me, and you just want to, point the spritzer the right way. Oh dear, that's gone a bit. So this time I've got a bigger piece of paper. It's a whole piece of the Fluid 100, and I'm going to pick it up like that. And you can see it just shows the grain unless you make it really wet. So what I can do to adjust that, if I just pop that piece on there, I've got a little piece of acetate, so window sheet, and I'm going to just dab that around. And yes, I'm mixing the inks, but this time I'm going to add that. And you can see I'm actually rubbing my finger on it to put the ink on, and it's getting a little bit better. I pick this up here because it's a bit wetter. So this time you can see why it can be better with the water. So I think we might go. The trick then is obviously not to go too far, which is what I often do. So I'm going to pick up ink and then drop it on here. Let it go. That's a bit wetter there, so we'll go and just smoosh it around underneath the there we go. So move our ink pad out of the way. You possibly can't see that. I'll just move it down so you can see. So you just play about with it really, and the beautiful thing with this is, of course, every design is unique, but you can obviously sometimes take it too far. So let's put that down there. If we add, oh, I think my, so let's see if we can mix these two, get a real greeny colour there. And this time I'm going all over the piece, and I want to cover the piece really, but if I have some white showing through, then that's absolutely fine. I'm just going to heat that for a moment. So you can see I've dried it off so that sets that ink, including the piece on the back, and I'm going to add some more and smoosh it. A little bit over the back here, so you just rub it on. This way tends to be a little bit more messy, as you can see. You can just let it run into itself as well if you want to, or you can take your heat tool, and this time I'll show you. Just dry that off. So it's creating quite an interesting background, which you can then die cut, or you could just use it as a background, whatever you want to. We'll just take it a little bit further and add a little bit more. Except I've put my, oh, there it is, acetate down. But as you can see, you get a little bit more messy with this one. Get the green coming in here. And again, if we heat it, just to let the bits roll. You could also use a piece of kitchen towel to dab off any excess water. This time I think I've possibly gone dry rather than wet, but I'll show you some others that I did with some other colours. But you can leave those to dry, and then you can use them as different backgrounds. So this is pinks and yellows, and then this one I embossed a pair of wellies and then actually put the colour onto the top of the wellies, and I'm yet to do anything with that one. And then this one I've made a rainbow, which again I can either die cut several flowers out of, or butterflies or something like that. So you could do a rainbow of butterflies, but it's entirely up to you what you do with them. Or you can colour an image that you've already stamped. I stamped and embossed it in white, and then I actually used the acetate to add the colour. Now, at first, obviously, it was just on a piece of paper, and it looked a complete mess. But then I've die cut it and added it to a neutral background. So that one, I'm now going to leave it to dry, and I might come back and add some more. But in the meantime, I'm first of all going to clear up this, and we'll go back to the one I did earlier. So that's now dry because it's not too wet, and I can create a scene with this. So I've got the Submarine Life stamp set, which has got some great images. Well, in actual fact, I've stamped a submarine. Now I'm going to take it as high as I can so that I've got more border at the bottom, because I'm going to use the periscope to add it at the top. And if I can make it that it runs, and you'll see it's punched out the propeller for the submarine, and it's also punched out the periscope. Okay, but they both stamp. You'll see there's a stamp here for that one, so you can stamp it and punch it out, and the periscope, if you want to call it that, I would. You stamp them and then punch them. So I've done those. So I've got those pieces, and then I'm going to build up a little scene. I want my submarine to look as though it's rising to the surface. So it's going to have its prop on the back, propeller, and then it's going to be coming up to the surface so that it can look through the periscope. So what we need to do is build up this scene, and I've got these two stamps, which are here and here. First of all, I'm going to use this as like it's a backwash on the submarine. So if we get a bit of boho blue on there, we can have the submarine here. And this. And then we've also got a really cute little, as the periscope, this nice little bubble stamp. So I'm going to use that across. And if you rotate it so that they look a bit more random, she says, as they look like they're squares. Got bubbles all across it. Like that. We'll clean that off my chamois. And I think we'll add this one. So if we clean this one first, we can add some. Right now here I've got Shy Shamrock and Granny Apple Green. So I've stuck mainly with the brights. And I'm going to use this to create some tall seaweeds growing up from the bottom. Then I've also got this stamp, which will make like a seabed. And I'm using Pebble Path so that it will cover up, and I can get the texture along the bottom. So if I pop that on, just let it soak on, because with it being watercolour paper, it just needs the ink to go onto it a little bit. And then we can get rid of that one and use this other one with the Shy Shamrock to make it a little bit bolder. For seaweed. There we go. Do we want any more? Maybe we'll stamp that off. We'll add a little bit there in the background. So you can see the picture is building. Move that one out of the way. And then you've also got lots of images that you could put in. Now I've used a relatively small piece of watercolour paper. I think I used half a sheet. and I've already got seaweed and a seabed. There's these little fish that I could add, or in fact I quite like the idea of some starfish, snorkeling starfish that I can add on. We've got a couple of those, and maybe a big fish like that, or maybe we will try the little ones if I can find them. I've obviously put them somewhere. There they are. We get this little stamp here, block. And if we go with a different colour, so I can take that fish off. I've got gorgeous scrape. Just make sure I get them the right way. So I could have this little set of fish here. Like a little shoal. So you can build it up however you want to. You could do it bigger and have a great big picture, but I think that's probably enough for now. So what we'll do is add the propeller on the back. You can see where I stamped one earlier, and shows that I wanted it a little bit different. So if I put this on the back with some seal, just take my finger off, and then I've also, because I raised it here, I haven't got a white edge, so I've got space to stick the propeller, so the periscope, so hopefully it looks like it's coming straight out. So we've got him. And we can add some sticky pads. If I pop one up there, it'll hopefully help keep that in place. One on the propeller and one to keep it in its place. A couple around the bazaars. I use my picker tool. Makes it really easy to get those backs off, so you're not trying to peel them, and it gathers them up so they don't stick on the dog and annoy the husband around the house. There we go, and we're ready to pop that, remembering that you put in the backdraft on here. Okay, then we can have a sticky pad on the back of each one of these and have them dancing down on this, dancing down on the seabed. And there we have our picture. Okay, and then you can up it by adding a background layer. So I put Misty Moonlight just to draw out the blue. Although this splodge on this one I think kind of looks like a torpedo coming out. And then I've also put it onto some Poppy Parade, which I used for these two pieces. I've added a little bit to my sentiment, and then I've added it onto our new basic beige card base. So that's how you can do it. And if I just show you the one that I did earlier, you can see that's beginning to dry out nicely now. And you could come back and add some more colour if you wanted to. You could certainly put a submarine on there or some fish on there as well if you wanted, or it would make a lovely backdrop for some lovely flowers. So the best thing you can do is build up a whole load of these. Once you've got all the kit out to do it, if you build up a supply of them, you can then do them, let them all dry, and bring them out when you want a background and do something with it. So it gives you lots of scope. So thanks for joining me. Please do take a look at my blog, stampingscene.blogspot.com, where you can find our blog hop.